Um, Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for joining this session with me today. And I'm Abhinaya from Allen Digital. I work as an engineer here. And I'm here on behalf of my team to basically walk you through um, the test and assessment platform and the learning journey engineering systems that we have built in the last few months at Allen. And want to give a glimpse of the problem statement and the different tech choices and why we made certain design choices and how we are delivering our product to our children who are part of the platform and who we want to attract to be a part of our platform too. So we can jump into and learn more about what we are doing in our team at Allen Digital. To start off with, who we are and why it's important to answer this before we go and look into what we are building and how we are building. These are some of the driving factors or motivations for us to build a good engineering product out there. First thing, as Allen, it's a known brand. And here, the stuff that we make uh, is dictated by tech-driven innovation. That's the first point, where we make the right tech choices, simple, elegant choices, and using the latest tech, so that we give the best outcomes possible for our customers. Second thing is personalized learning. And why is this important? Because every student has a different learning journey and they have a learning path. And what we build has to cater to their learning journey and eventually provide the right learning outcome for everybody who is there registered with us. And the destination can be the same, but the paths chosen can be different. And in our engineering team, the test and assessment platform also, every choice that we make to build is also done by keeping this basic principle in mind. And transformative approach really is about reshaping education by merging tradition with technology. With 30 years of experience, which Alan has already had, we want to give or build on the legacy that they have by giving access to better technology, faster, reliable, more intuitive, interactive, everything together. And this is the approach that we want to follow. And again, this principle trickles down to our team as well. And accessibility mission is very important. Now, at least for our platform, the online tests that we give, and the offline students that we are offering a product to, they require the best and uninterrupted and smooth experience when test taking, because it's a very critical part. And at the end of the day, that is what is going to determine how well they perform, and that is going to have a direct impact on their outcomes and eventually leading them to success. So we take this seriously, and we do all this with the support of a very good team uh, at at all levels. And this is very important for us to drive forward and build what we want to build in the right and the best manner possible. So the agenda for today's talk is basically introduction about my team, what we build, and what are the core components that we build as a part of our platform, and how we support different forms of tests. So this is not just any outside test taking platform which is built where somebody can come in, give tests, and just take results and go out. But we very deeply look at the outcomes that come for different formats of tests, like it could be long form, short form, or where you want to give results immediately or results later. And then how we create a core idea and how any type of test in the future can be onboarded into our system seamlessly. And building these core components is very critical for us so that we can make it more extendable, easily onboard different forms. Tomorrow, somebody in our product comes and tells us that uh, we want to give a variation of this test. We want to give it, the student should be able to do in a format A. They should be able to do it in a format B, because the learning outcome is better if it is done in format B. So we want to just onboard and start using. So keeping all this in mind, we wanted to create that central platform. And the ideas that contribute to building that is what we feel is long term and sustainable over a long period of time. So getting those elements right is very important, and so we focus a lot on that. Next, I'll walk you through some of the tech challenges that we have tried to address or in the process of addressing as we grow as a team. And we also, I will take you through a small example of how curated journeys are built on top of the assessments, where which is a plug and play model that we have, and give some insight into the tech stack that we in the team have, and what the future holds for us in building more uh, uh, fun, cool, and important things to help children to get better. Today, the audience, although the platform is meant primarily for children who are our end users, there are other people also in the ecosystem where we cater to their needs too. So, so the general idea is that we want to give the best test taking experience, plus the outcomes of the test taking experience, to feedback into the system and give a personalized view to every student who is there and help them reach their goal. So when a student registers with us, right, after they go through their learning classes and they also go through um, uh, the registration, etc., there are multiple different things that happen in the life cycle. Tests is something, uh, when they come to us, these are the questions that they have in mind, or these are the problems that they basically want to solve. So one thing is they want to have answers to. So a test is important to basically judge what is my current understanding of the topics covered so far. Then how much should I prepare in order to get the best outcomes, right? How much more is there, and how far I have come in the whole learning process, and where do I stand in my current performance. And it could be an individual performance, or it could be my own performance, a comparative performance over timeline, or where I stand, because at the end of the day, I also need to know how others are performing. So I need to have all kinds of view when I do a test, and just not through regularized test, but also to all forms of test. And that should be like that should be core for me to decide how I want to move forward. Then can I get better at specific topics and subtopics, and do I need additional tests to personally help me improve, because a child A can be good at something and a child B could be good at something, but both of them eventually have to learn a topic C. So if A requires a little bit more questions to get better, and more learning to get better, then that kind of personal view needs to be given, and that we help with getting going through more tests, right? Then can I do multiple reattempts? Well, if I want to feel more confident, I can take the same test again and again, so and still have a comparative performance. And can I be directed to relevant learning materials in order to revise topics? Yes, yes. So for example, we have different mechanisms that have been built in already to give them, after a test is taken, what is the next step, whether you have to do more long form learning content or short form learning content, or you can go to the next step and start taking the next test and see where you stand. So that's another important question that they want to get answer to. And can I get detailed insights? Exactly. So it's very important to understand the only when you have the right reports and when you have the right feedback given to you at the most drill down level, that is when you have more idea into where you have to focus your efforts on. So that kind of views are also something that we give, because we have all the data of how a student has performed in the test or over a period of time, a lot of tests. Now, so given these problem statements, or these are the questions with which the students come and they want to find answers to. So having a good platform requires what? So we wanted to build or identify the core requirements that we have. Like for example, it should be central. Like I mentioned earlier, it should be central. Like you don't keep changing things as new forms or new types of things coming in. So understand if we are able to identify the core components correctly, then tweaking and just using a configuration to onboard different kinds of uh, tests into the system is going to be like super easy. So, and who are my drivers? Who are the people who are going to create these tests? Now, it's also a formal platform where people come and learn, and we have good acads who are basically teaching and then preparing tests for you. So it could be acad-driven regular tests that are given to children on a periodic basis. Every test is important. This is one of a very key important factor. So we have entry points for people to create these tests. So academic-driven tests are very important, and student-driven custom tests are also as important. So which means that the point where you create tests can also be driven by students. So test creation by itself is an important piece, and that forms the basis for the rest of the test taking experience. Then system driven personalized tests by capturing all of students past test experiences. So what this means is that sometimes student may think I'm good at something, but in reality may or may not be. But how do we prove that? We collect all the students test performances, that is the student given test performance over a period of time, and we have models that run and predict how proficient they are in this. So we are in the process of building this pipeline, and give them and suggest, because it's very input driven, that a person A has to get better at a topic T1. So which means that this is what is presented to the student, which is more system driven. We have identified some areas that need more improvement. So once you give that, the questions associated with that topic or subtopic can be created on the fly and given to the children. So these are the different types. So a creation of a good question paper, or a question paper which helps you basically get better, is very critical for somebody who's taking a test. That contributes to your improvement pipeline. So that is so one thing. So the driver of the test creation is one unit, and it's very important. Tomorrow there is a fourth driver. It is easy to onboard, and we just figure out what is the mechanism with which this person has this piece has to be built. So it is an easy integration. Now, supporting various configurations, like I said, so short form test, time bound test, untime bound test, instant results, deferred results, multiple other configurations are very important for different types of tests which are onboarding into our system. And so this is also a very key factor for us to think of it as a platform and offer it to other people who want to come and use it in our system. So you can use it for experiments. Maybe they want to get some more details around what kind of learning material needs to be put to them. So again, so what kind of question improvement that needs to be given. So that also they can do it as well. Give a test and figure out how this experiment goes. So they can also onboard into our system in the future. So we are giving that a way of so by giving configurations and tweaking them, different formats of tests could be given to the children. Now, plug and play test experience anywhere in the Allen system. So why this is important is once you build a core test component, it can be plugged in your normal test form, or it could be plugged in as a quick test or a quiz of the day or anything of that format, and given to and could just be plugged into the system anywhere, and all the calls just get directed towards our platform. So this is how we kind of thought, or the problem statement came in front of us. And so what we came up with in order to address some of these things is identifying the core building blocks. So what are the core building blocks? So when you say something is a platform, what are the main components that are necessary in order to platformize it? So here we have question generation is a more primary format for any test taking. So it could be static, it could be dynamic. So this is a component by itself that needs to be designed. And the next is the test taking experience. This is one of our core strengths, and giving the best experience possible. I'll talk a little bit more on the tech challenges when we are giving a test taking experience. We can always compare it to any other test platform, but what is our differentiator in the engineering decisions that we made? But this test taking experience is very, very, it's one of the core pieces that we have. And the result computation process, yes, it's important to result computation process. It's important to know how or after the test that you have done. Like computation can involve different question types, different formats of tests of sectioning, non-sectioning. So there'll be varied variety of forms. So our result computation process uh, basically caters to a standard way of building it, so that we can do the transformations in between and give the best result possible. Now, insights is again meant for children. They want to know how well they have done in certain topics, in certain subtopics, or particularly in a subject or a different area that they want to focus. So that level of insights, where first level insights and deep level insights that we are giving. So that's also it's a it's a core component. And the last part is your revise and reattempt. How much ever we do all these things, children always want to go back and see what they have done. We want to give them that opportunity to keep uh, get familiarized with the questions, etc. So we have a component built for revise and reattempt itself. So they are able to measure their improvements in general. And again, this is also from all forms of tests that they have taken in the entire ecosystem. Now, if we look at the engineering components that we have built, I'll give a glimpse into what the system is, right? So, for example, yeah. So the question creation process itself, we have a unit, which unit is called the question bank, and there are thousands of over. It is this has been collected over years and years of uh, uh, years and years of question creation. We have mechanisms to create questions, and we also have mechanisms to um, uh, put them have a tagging into where they belong and what they belong to. So it is easier to fetch questions from through filters and like what topics, so that we can collate questions together and give. So your acad driven questions, it has a general a pipeline through which we get this, and we attach it to a test basically, followed by again the model driven, right, where we have the personalized test driven model driven questions that can come are presented to the children. This is another unit. Another is a student driven, where the students want to practice and create custom tests. So this is completely student driven again. And there is a central bank or a central collection, where applying the right filters for the student, given certain it comes under a hierarchy of topic A, subtopic B, and etc. So we create that, and depending on the time for which the student wants to take the test, or the acad decides that the test is for x minutes or x hours, this question paper is created. The outcome is a document where a question gets created. Now there is an entire process where we allow our admins to basically create regularized tests, but model driven and student are very free flowing, and it is just initiated, and every day we have that many children taking tests to get better. So once this paper is ready, we have designed what are called the workflows. And once a pre-test preparation phase goes, wherein wherein we keep everything ready before the test has to start. It has to go into a progress state for everybody to start taking. Before that, it goes. There is a state management system where before the test, it has to appear to the students so that they have a smooth entry point into the system, and everything is very time critical. Where we publish these events to a central system, and it becomes available immediately. And there is a mechanism for them to enter the test after authenticating themselves, right? Now, once the student comes into the system, we have the engine, what we call the core engine. In this test taking engine, it by itself is an isolated system which has minimal interaction with outside of any other system. The reason being certain choices that we made is because it has to independently scale for us, and there is independently scale at all levels, basically your stateless layer and your stateful layer, and making the right data store choice over there was very important for us. So and we wanted to give a reliable, non interrupted experience, because once a student gets into a test taking mood, there should be nothing, at least from a technical standpoint, nothing that's preventing that child to panic or make mistakes in the test. So keeping that as our North Star, this is a very lightweighted system where and it's low latent system, and just thus exactly capturing the student answer as given, so that and under order of very few single digit milliseconds, and we are recording answers. So for on a given Sunday, if we look at it, we have like a large group of tests which are happening in the system, right? Saturdays and Sundays, and throughout the week also. But these are the high load periods for us, and there can be no test can interfere with another, or like a high student participation in one test will not affect another student participation in a different test. So these kind of things were very critical for us. Apart from that, on the client side as well, it is as critical having the right network, even if there is low network or like a flaky network. Those things, I'll talk a little bit more about that. But these are the things are driving North Star for us to ensure that we make the right design choices. And once the engine captures the answers, it goes into a result generation unit. And in this, there are like a lot of things that happen. Now, before I move into that, I would like to say a couple of things. So the platform that we have is not just for the online tests. So we have offline children, which is a very huge number for us. And they also take tests on Sundays, right? Or throughout the week. So we have like a lot of OMR-based systems, and those results are also uploaded into our system. So when you have different formats and different online, offline, some children can take it both ways, and we have like a lot of transformations that need to be done and brought to a common format, so that the rest of the process is a smooth and rest of the process is smooth and like format agnostic. Wherever the entry point comes from, it could be from here, I mean, it could be from online, it could be from offline, it could be a combination. So we convert all this data into a single format, so that the result generation becomes very easy for us. Because today we have requirements like some children can take it offline, online, but the rank generation and the result publishing should be same for everybody, right? So since these things are there, it's very important to bring it to a standardized format, and we have those mechanisms in place. And once the result is generated, you have insights. So what we do is that there are so initial insights which can be given by the engineering team is given, and then we have like when you want to give timeline based performance, and when you want to give relative performance and more insights, deeper insights, which requires us to interact with other systems to understand what is the topic segregation that we want and the subtopic segregation that we want. It's a different system. So we have our analytics team helping us build this kind of reports and generating it for the children, for every type of test for that matter. Now, specifically, we started with the large-scale tests that happen. Now, another part or the side processes that we run as a part of our workflow is sync with relevant systems. So we spoke about the revise and reattempt concept, right? So we are syncing all answers given by the children from any system, any form of test which has been onboarded into this platform-based system. We are able to capture it, and this is captured and presented to the students. And not only that, and we also source or send this into our system, so that we can build more 360 view of how a child is performing in a particular subject. So we have all the inputs with us. So that's why we have a student test interactions capturing system, and then it is fed into the model, and multiple models run and give predictions for us. So so these are independent units, but these are all orchestrated by what we call a workflow, and which are both sync based and which are asynchronous as well. For example, some tests, when I say sync async, what I mean is that sometimes the results are generated immediately, because some forms of tests show immediate results, but the same a tweak in the workflow can help you still accommodate that kind of test. And some of them are like, we wait for children to get over so that we can generate a more relative performance based reports. So these are the independent units that we have built, and each of it has its own mostly the data store that we have is shared. So but each of this is a repeatable unit or retriable unit, where with robust failure retry mechanisms. So these are our core components, our driver components that we have. Now I want to throw some light on a couple of key challenges that we tried to address at the time of designing the test engine. A couple of areas. So, so one thing is like I said, like our brain is the test engine unit, and why it is important to, not really the brain, but it is one of a very key component that we have, where the live interaction with the student and capturing every small detail is important. So mm, what were the important fields or the factors that we considered, and what are the trade-offs that we made here, right? So now, like I said, it's a low latent system. Even today, the entire API or P95 or our metrics show that we are super low latent here, because it's light in terms of the payload that we've used, or the data store choice that we had taken, having the right partitioning key and having the right scalable system. After like few months also, we are able to scale well. So our considerations here were like, isolation of the engine unit with minimal dependencies, a right choice of data store for high performance and on-demand scaling, and uninterrupted, like high availability for uninterrupted test taking experience. This was very critical for us, where there was no compromise here, and smooth experience despite flaky networks. So this is a common problem. By that I mean, there are so many test taking platforms out there, right? So when we studied how others were doing, so either if it's internet is there, you are able to give the test. The moment internet goes, there is nothing. Like, you will have to wait, you'll have to go into a situation, panic. Well, your time is basically running down. And another system where they allow you to take everything offline, but it has its own problems. Without the right guardrails is also not right, because they can just take the test and then allowing them to upload at any point of time, the answers uploading at any point of time. That was also not the path that we wanted to take. So we chose a middle ground, where the kind of trade-off we took is, it is important to give the test online, mainly for the online children. It's important to give the test online. We are anyway low latent, but flaky networks is something that we cannot avoid, because we have children from all corners of the country. And even for power interruptions or any kind of interruptions that come in, a child should not be penalized. So what should we do? So what should the client do in order to give them a smooth test taking experience? Is we have like an async mechanism where answers are captured, but still we do subtly notify our end user, saying that, figure out a way to, there is a low network issue or no internet issue, but hoping that they could quickly, get to a system, but at the same time not panic or not answer anything. So even if it's a power interruption, it's okay. Answers are getting captured, and then these are locally stored and they are synced without any interruption for the student. And also always the latest answer, because the moment multiple times a student marks, right? If it is a direct API call when there is an internet, yes, great. We always have the latest answer. But if that's not the case, we also store it on maps and then send it to the backend once the connection comes. So this kind of gives them that breather to not worry about uh, their answers not getting synced, but still having the information that they are able to take the test. Plus, it will get synced once the power comes back or your internet comes back, or there is a small disruption in your internet. So these were some of the things that was very critical for us to handle at the first go itself, and we have a version of it, but we aspire to get better on this front as well. So this is one tech part which I wanted to throw light on, and how we make our decisions and what is a trade-off and how to choose middle grounds based both on business needs and both on the engineering standpoint. So this is how we went about designing our test engine unit. And the next one other aspect or one other challenge that I'd like to talk about is the result accuracy. Now, different formats of tests, right? They have different uh, like different question types, or like different competitive exams have different types of questions there, right? So for us, creating the right package to address evaluation of questions and giving the right accurate answers or like evaluating it correctly and presenting it to the student. It is there is just really wide range over there, and mm, and accommodating for that and building it right the first time was something we made the right calls on, or like wanted to factor in that we make the right call to make this easy and more long sustainable. And so yeah, so every type of question or every format of question is different. It's a very decoupled system. You can pick and choose whatever model of question, whatever format of question that you want across different papers, different types, different classes, etc. And it's very decoupled, and we can basically use it for any form of uh, evaluation mechanism. And yes, why accuracy is very important is because any 0.5 or any 1 mark variation can make you slip ranks. So there is a so handling this very with great sensitivity was important for us, and that's how we thought about this and created packages where it's kept very central, and we are propagating it correctly at the time of result evaluation mechanism. So again, like source-based input processing, online and offline. So every question or the answer format that comes to us is a little different. So having the right transformers in place and moving to a common format was very important for us. So that is something that we've handled as a part of our workflow mechanisms. Yeah, so this just a peek view, a sneak peek into a couple of challenges we wanted to discuss. Next is, yeah, this is a cloud of what are the different types of tests that we support today and what we aspire to support in the future as well. Yeah, we also want to support large scale scholarship tests, which can be run in our own platform, but that has its own challenges. And in our own in our own platform, that is this test and assessment engineering platform that we've built. And the rest of it are already there, like mock tests are there, practice tests, personalized tests, acad driven periodic tests, and Q reels. I'd like to talk about a couple of these reel based or like custom tests or learning journey tests that we have today. Just want to walk through a small example of how our tests are used as a guide for better learning paths. In this case, so one of our products, which is called the learning journey, it has like a bunch of questions in a form of collection, which pertains to a particular topic or so is given to the student. And the progression of this test or the progression of the student to the next level is determined by how they're doing at every question level or like a bunch of question level. And then we decide what to give them, whether you need to watch a video or you need to watch a bunch of flashcards so that you can get better and come and retake the test with different set of questions that you've gone through and see how whether you've gotten better at it. So this was a product which is called the learning journey. And I'd like to talk a little bit about how we started as a rule based system over there, which decides where we used G rule. And it basically decided after X questions where everything was configurable. The rule system was uh, uh, we could use multiple parameters in the rule system, come and introduce it today and keep varying on that. But the configuration parameters that we use to determine some tests could be difficult or some questions could be difficult, or the overall difficulty of the question, the set of 15 questions that was thrown to the children could be difficult. So these are all our variables, but there are some uh, 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 the metrics that we use were predefined, but we could configure and play around and understand how we need to move the children to compute the proficiency and move the child to the next step, whether the next test or move them to a learning journey. So this is something that we built, and now what we have evolved into is that now it's not now, although this product currently runs on rules, we have moved into collecting data from different sources right now, and then using more models or preparing to use models to determine what will be the next personalized test for the student, and on a daily basis, or as and when the students take, we want to also be able to give the next set of questions based on the current performance in this session. So that is where we are going to. This was something that we built as a initial phase to understand how to navigate children with certain rules, but with configurations to play around and move, propel the learning journey forward. Now it'll be a more collecting information as and when, and make it more adaptive by giving it to the to give immediate feedback to get better at what they want to learn. So this is what we are evolving into, and we are already done a couple of custom tests on that line, and we'll get better to build personalized tests right now. Um, Next is a little bit on the tech stack that we use. So yes, we are on cloud, and we use primarily Golang for all the components that we have written. All our stateless layers, basically our API layer, and our worker processes where we are processing async messages and other components that we have. Apart from that, our choice of data store is basically a document store. And apart from that, we have a good uh, workflows to manage the test life cycles, and with the right retry mechanisms, and it works wonderfully for uh, the use cases that we have built so far. And This is about the tech stack that we use, and a glimpse into the future of what we want to build in our platform in the future, in the upcoming months, is we want on-demand admission tests. So basically, so far we have catered to the in-house people who have already registered in our platform, and they're making use of our tests. But we also want to make it for people who want to aspire to, who want to come and use our products. So giving opening up on-demand tests for them, and evaluating them, and giving them to getting them to onboard into our platform. Then instant feedback. Yes, we are already on track to building this, and we also want for high stake exams where we want to create that in-house proctoring support, because some exams, yes, you don't need to know what the child is doing, but some of these exams are very important to ensure that every child is evaluated fairly, because with giving something online, there is immediately you are able to get answers from anywhere, and nobody's really monitoring. But we definitely want to ensure that the ranks that are given and the marks that are given are fair, and everybody is taking it on the fair platform. So we definitely want to do that. And the next is having the right content security mechanisms in place, where uh, we want to ensure that any form of, say for example, just question papers, or when the student is answering, no tampering that is done in terms of answers that is being given to us. We do not want to do that, so we'll have the right security principles in place. So that is something we are looking to do. That's a small a peek into what we've built so far and what we aspire to build as an engineering team. That's from my end. Thank you. I'd like to